Nominate the youth sports volunteer that you know for the Hercules Hero of the Week. Submit your nomination at kslsports.com/contests and listen every Thursday afternoon to JJ and Alex for the winner. Help us celebrate the efforts of those volunteers making an impact with the Hercules Hero of the Week. And it's sponsored by Hercules First Federal Credit Union and Beehive Meals. And DJ, if he keeps calling plays that leads to touchdowns, he will be the Hercules Hero of the Week.
Fact. Aaron Roderick, BYU offensive coordinator, joins us now. Aaron, good morning.
Good morning. What's up, guys?
You, resting on your laurels, feet up, taking January off, basking in the 11-2 season. Am I wrong? I assume
we've definitely arrived, yes.
Yes, you're right. I'm totally...
Vacation every day, you know how it goes.
Excellent. Before we look forward, I want to look back. And you said something last summer that got my attention because Jerry Sloan said it about professional basketball players, and you're coaching college football players, and how much overlap can there be? But when I was talking to you last summer, hey, 5-7, and you got to get better, and why is that going to happen, and why are you so optimistic? No matter what question I asked you, you always came back with the word continuity. Continuity. We have guys who have been in the program the second year. There isn't as much change. The continuity is going to pay off. And as the season unfolded, I thought, see, Aaron Roderick's answers, the lineup with Jerry Sloan's answers, tend to be pretty smart answers. And I'm sure you want more of that going forward. I'm curious, how do you do that given the current rules in football? And over time, did you see other things play into this season that even if you can't hold on to the continuity, you can use those things, these other things that helped you win?
Yeah, continuity was huge. Man, that's the first time anyone's ever mentioned me in the same breath as Jerry Sloan. What an honor.
You're welcome. But seriously, when you said that, I heard that. Jerry said guys have to be with a team for a third year, and then in a sport where you don't get to huddle up, right? Guys just look at each other, and they know. They know where a guy's going to rotate on defense. They know where he's going to cut on offense. They just look at each other, and they know from the body language. And he relished when that finally happened.
Yeah, I agree with Coach Sloan on that one. And I did say that last summer that I thought we had so many returning players that had been in the offense for a year, played together, where the year before we were like a whole new team. And and I feel like that was a huge factor this year for sure. And you saw guys like Caleb Etienne, who, to be perfectly honest, 2 years ago struggled mightily and lost his starting position. And this past season he's first team all conference and going to get drafted. And what a difference a year made, just knowing what he's doing and playing with for 2 years in Waylon Lapuaho at right guard or left guard. Those types of things they really do matter. And the chemistry you have between perimeter players with the quarterback and even just ball handling things, handing the ball off on a jet sweep, those types of things take hundreds and hundreds of reps. And the longer guys are in the program, the more likely they are to be able to execute in big games.
As I've seen you develop as a coach, Aaron, I really think you're a cross between Andy Reid and Bill Parcells. And so with that in mind, I can't even say it with a straight face. January is a big recruiting month. Coaches are all over the place. My wife teaches at a school here in the Valley, and she's told me all the coaches that have come through these last couple of weeks, and it's been everybody and their dog, really, as she's said, saw their shirts that they wear. I'm wondering, given the fact that you got the Big 12 in the conference that you're in and also the success that you've had, how much buzz has there been for you guys at BYU on the recruiting trail this month?
First of all, I lost you for a second. I think you made some – DJ complimented me about comparing me to Sloan. I think you just threw a jab at me.
No, I did not. No, I did not. I said, I see your development as a coach. It's very similar to what I've seen in Andy Reid and Bill Parcells.
Okay, well, thanks. Anyway, recruiting-wise, yeah, it's been a busy month, and I would say, yeah, success always helps. I mean, there's a little bit of at BYU we're looking at a pretty targeted group of guys. I don't think it used to be kind of easy to just say, well, we're always going to get who we're going to get at BYU, and I think that's kind of a lazy approach. And
Right.
I don't think that's accurate at all. We are trying to up our game constantly. We're not going to rest on our laurels. And we're trying to get better at every position. And I think we're being pretty well received everywhere we go. I think, being in this conference helps, and then winning games in this conference helps even more. And so I think, you've already seen us bring in some good players, and I think there's going to be more every year, and we're going to just keep trying to upgrade. That's the goal. You have to keep trying to get better because everybody else is too. And it's highly competitive, but I think we're doing well. And, we're hanging in there with some really good teams, and I think we're going to have a chance to be a good team again next year.
Well, the reason why I say it is, we know the guys you get, the LDS guys, we understand that, and then supplement a little bit. But you look at what Kevin Young's done in the basketball. He's gotten the number one recruit in the country coming, and he doesn't fit the typical BYU profile, so to speak. So I'm thinking that, well, if he's doing it in basketball, you guys should be able to do it in football.
Yeah, I think just even on some of the guys that played really well for us this year are maybe not typical of who BYU would have gotten in the past, but all those guys have fit in great and been great, great representatives of BYU and great of our program and played well on the field, and so I think it's been a good lesson for all of us, man. You have to recruit the right guys that fit this place, but you can't just assume that people can't fit here. You got to do your homework, and you got to get out there and hustle and work at it. And Keelan Marion, Atlanta, Georgia, man, that kid's he loves it here, and he's just one example of a really good football player that probably wouldn't have been recruited here back when I played. And so that's just one guy of many on this team right now that are doing great things for us.
How much can Jake Retzlaff improve, and where can he improve going forward in a sport that's so quarterback dependent?
Yeah, great question. So I think Jake had a good year. I think he's sort of right on track of like the normal kind of development that the good quarterbacks that have played here were on. I think it's pretty interesting to look at his junior year stats compared to some of the other junior year quarterbacks that played here, whether it's recently like Zach Wilson or a long time ago like Steve Young. Statistically very, very similar. And so the goal is to take that jump that those other guys took senior year. And so this year he's 20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. I don't talk a lot about stats, but I have said directly to him, next year we need to be in the 30 touchdowns plus with single-digit interceptions. And that's what Zach did his senior year. That's what Jaron did. And if you do that, those are winning numbers. Those aren't just numbers to get you all-conference votes. Those are numbers that help you win games. And then the other one is I think we really need to improve our completion percentage. We need to be up around 70% completions next year. And we were just too many times this year we're not quite on the same page. I think there's a lot of things Jake can do to improve his accuracy, just improve footwork, and then also just more repetition, more practice with our returning receivers. We have a lot of players coming back that have played a lot of football, and I think that's a reasonable expectation to get back up in that 70% completion range like we were with Zach and Jaron, and like the good quarterbacks in the past have been. And so I think if we can make those are quantifiable things that he can do next season that will lead to more points and hopefully another couple wins.
Robert said he's coming back. How about Lassiter?
Well, that situation's complicated with the junior college guys. I'm probably not the best person to explain it, but I think the deal with the quarterback from Vanderbilt led everyone to believe that maybe all the junior college guys were going to get another year. But now we're finding out that doesn't necessarily apply to all JUCO guys. And so I think he's got to, it's a tough decision. Do you wait around to find out what's going to happen on that ruling, or do you just move on and make the most of your opportunity to try to make it in the NFL? And I can't speak for him right now where he's at on that, but that is a complicated question that's going to be going through the court system and stuff. And I think it's going to end up in the court system. I don't know exactly how that's going to go, but so I can't really comment for him. But we have Parker Kingston coming back, who had a heck of a year, and we have Keelan Marion coming back, who had a great year, and Chase, and got good running backs returning, offensive linemen. So we have a chance to be good on offense. I think we should take another big step forward.
You speak of that offensive line, you lose some talent there, but also some leadership, which can be very, very important. And you got Gentry coming in. Speak to what you've got going there in terms of personnel.
Yeah, I mean, we're for sure going to miss Connor Pay and Caleb Etienne. The one thing that gives me peace of mind, though, is Bruce Mitchell played his butt off this year at center for us. He's a converted defensive lineman who the first game he ever played in his life at center was starting against Kansas State, and he went out and played great. And so I'm really excited about him, and I just think we have, even though we're losing a couple of good leaders, we're a program that I think one of the strengths of Kalani's program is the way he develops leadership, and I think that these other guys are going to step up, and we should not skip a beat there. That was probably the biggest difference between 2023 and 2024 was the improvement at offensive line, and we're nowhere near where we want to be yet, but we made a huge improvement, and I think those guys will take another big step forward next year.
We always hear the losses hit coaches harder than they celebrate the wins. I thought the Colorado win, there were a lot of eyeballs on the program that night, 8 million people watching on TV, who knows how many recruits, and you came up big, and I'm sure that Kansas loss hurt. So for you, have you let them both go at this point? Does the loss hurt more than the win? How does that work out for you?
Well, the loss hurts more than the win, yeah. That one hurt, and but you have to move on. I mean, you can't dwell on either one. You just, now that the season's over, you look at it in its totality. I'm proud of our team for finishing the right way. 11 wins, for a team that people expect us to not be very good. And the thing that I'm most proud of for our players, at least, is there really is no comparison to any team in the past with this team as far as, we beat 9 power conference teams this year. And a couple of years ago, we beat 5 or 6. And then prior to that, no BYU team had ever beaten more than 3. And so it's hard to even, it's a really, really big accomplishment, I think, to beat 9 power conference teams in only our second year. And I'm proud of our players for that. And now you've got to put the losses behind you and the wins behind you as well, and sort of try to use it as momentum and understand that we're going to have a target on our backs next year. We're not going to sneak up on anyone. And so next step is, how do you one-up yourself when people are expecting you to be good? And that's going to be the challenge of this offseason is handling success.
How much of this success that you've been having is directly related to Coach Satake?
Oh, tons of it. I mean, he deserves most of the credit. It starts with just having a program where it's fun to come to work every day. Our players and coaches love coming in the building. I think everybody, to a man, looks forward to whatever tasks are in front of them the next day. And whether that's weightlifting or running or a practice or a game, we like coming to work. And Kalani he just creates an environment where it's almost it sounds almost cheesy, but there's a lot of love in the building. I think there's a lot of people who care about each other, teammates, coaches, both directions, and it makes it fun. And so I'm enjoying the heck out of it, and that healthy atmosphere, I think, leads to a lot of trust, and our players play really hard because they don't want to let him down. I mean, I really believe that our players play hard out of a love for him, and that's pretty cool.
You used the whatever you want to call it, the Wildcat, in that bowl game, and I'm wondering, maybe had you thought of using it earlier in the season, and how about next year? I don't know who's going to be the backup quarterback or if you'd have a Wildcat, but that was something that was effective there in that bowl game. So what about maybe using it again next year, and should have used it earlier this year?
Yeah, I felt bad. The pass play we tried didn't work out. In bowl games, you get a chance to practice some things that people aren't expecting, and so they happened to run a coverage on that play that we had not seen all season long, and Gary didn't handle that one well. But the run plays we did were effective, and yes, we did talk about using it earlier in the season, and I want to tell you what an awesome guy Gary Bohannon is. We brought it up to him earlier in the season, and his answer to me was, "Coach, I'll do whatever you want, but I don't want to mess with Jake's rhythm." He said, "I've been in that situation before where you're rotating quarterbacks in and out, doing Wildcat stuff." And he said, "Jake won the job fair and square. Just let him play. And if he gets injured, I'll be ready to come in." And that was his answer. And I actually asked him that. I think it was game 2 or 3 in the season. We had an idea about how to use him in the red zone. And he was willing, but he's such a good teammate, he didn't want to mess with Jake getting into a rhythm early in the season. And then once we got into that rhythm, especially in mid-season, that middle section of the season, Jake was playing pretty well. And so we decided not to mess with it for a while. And maybe we should have busted it out in November because Jake got a little bit beat up, and I kind of have some regrets about that. But that's what a great guy Gary Bohannon is, and what a great teammate he is. And so in the bowl game, though, we brought it up, and Jake said, "Heck yeah, let's do this." He wanted to get Gary in the game, and I think you guys saw how excited all of his teammates were when he unfortunately came up about 6 inches short of a touchdown on that first drive.
And maybe use it next year, do you think?
It's always in the bag. I did it when I coached up the road with multiple guys, and there's a lot of fun things you can do. So just depends on who's on your roster and who's ready to go in there and make things happen.
Do you want to coach into your 70s? I ask because Pete Carroll just signed a 3-year deal, or is signing one apparently. He's going to be the Raiders' new head coach. So, he could be your role model, A-Rod. You don't have to give this up. You got a lot of good years in front of you.
Well, I see a lot of Pete Carroll in A-Rod.
Nice.
I do not want to coach in my 70s, but I have a 4-year-old, so maybe I'll have to.
Okay, all right, nice. The way coaching salaries are going, you'll be okay.
Well, Nick Saban did, and I don't see much difference between Nick Saban and A-Rod.
Nice.
I have a daughter going to University of Chicago next year, and so I got to figure out how to pay for that tuition too. So
now that's serious.
In my 80s, yeah.
That's serious. Congratulations on that, University of Chicago. That's big time right there. That's not power athletics, but it's power academics for sure.
Yep, she's a smart kid.
There you go. All right, thank you, A-Rod. We appreciate it.
Hey, great talking to you guys.
All right, there's Aaron Roderick, BYU offensive coordinator. Reminds me a lot of George Halas.
Yeah, well, I always call him Vince.
Nice.
Well, I don't want to be left out here.
I agree. Kevin Graham is talking AFC and NFC championship games coming up in about 15 minutes right here on The Zone.